Very few, if any, studios would probably bankroll that at 70 million. But if you made that movie for 10 or 12, you got a shot at it. And you got a shot to like really knock it out of the park.
All right, hello again, everyone, to Denoise. This is going to be part 2 of our interview with Bryn Mooser. So this is a 2-part series. In the last episode, we started our conversation. Bryn Mooser, founder of Asteria and Moonvalley. In this episode, we're going to get into more detail about Uncanny Valley, the movie they're making, directed by Natasha Lyonne.
AI is such an emerging field, and in order for you to innovate, you actually have to put a production through it, and that's exactly what they did at Asteria.
Yeah, they're going to learn a lot by putting some actual project through the production process.
Yeah, and like we mentioned in part 1, the enormous cost savings that you can potentially achieve, and Bryn gives us some of the glimpses of that.
Yeah, so enjoy the listen, and we'll catch you at the end. Well, yeah, do you want to talk more about Uncanny Valley and sort of what the role AI is playing?
Yeah, we just, one of our partners is Natasha Lyonne, who's a tremendous filmmaker and a futurist, from everything from Russian Doll and beyond. Like, she's very interested in how technology shapes our world. I think when she was working on Russian Doll, she got very deep in quantum physics and sciences, and has this crazy network of brilliant people like Jaron Lanier, Ted Chiang, who are arguably building the kind of the quantum sciences of the world that we're living in, and are great thinkers, and she's interested in that. And she also, I think, understood that AI was going to be inevitable. And I think as a filmmaker and indie filmmaker was like, shouldn't we be at the table? Like, if we're not at the table, we're being served. What's that thing? So like, we should be there, and we should know what's good about this, helpful about it, and what's really bad about it. Because if you remember at the strikes, everything was bad about it. Yeah. And what that means is if everything's bad about it, we end up fighting the wrong fights. Right. Then we're mad at Brady Corbett because he used Respeecher to make the Hungarian sound better. Yeah. But somehow we're like not mad that Meta is scraping all of our movies to make their model. Like we're sort of looking the other way. We're looking the wrong way. And so I think what Natasha was really interested in as she started to think about what the technology can do is that idea of democratizing those studio films. So Uncanny Valley is this big adventure sci-fi film of these two folks two people who go into a video game, right? And so half of it will be shot practically like a film, and then the other half will be in this hybrid AI using actors to drive, et cetera. And that movie would be like a $70 million movie at the studios.
Wow, okay.
And by the way, the movie is going to be incredible. The world should see it. It's going to be a smash. It's a hit. Very few, if any, studios would probably bankroll that at 70 million. It's very hard to build a financial model where that movie, where you're going to put 70 million and then actually make any money
especially
on it.
in the market we're in today, very conservative.
Yeah. But if you made that movie for 10 or 12, you got a shot at it, right. And you got a shot to really knock it out of the park. Yeah. And you're not, the savings come in really kind of this long tail pulling out of how long it takes to kind of get this back and forth from production houses or overseas production houses or whatever else versus a smaller team. Still your DP that you love, your art director, your head of VFX, you need those people. Technicians are more important than ever. People who are great at something are more important than ever. You still need your actors, your writers. Don't compromise on that stuff. But just being able to do things quicker in real time makes a big difference in terms of the budget.
Technology makes a big leap forward when there's, especially in our industry, when there's a film up against it being road tested at the same time. Is any of Uncanny Valley being made in this building? Yeah. And if so, then talk to us a little bit about what you're learning and how you're adjusting on the fly.
Yeah, I would say everything we're learning and putting into the model comes from practical problem solvings that we're doing on films, whether it's Uncanny Valley or beyond. That's why I'm always when I thought about this, it was really about find the people all over the world who are figuring out these little pieces. I would bring them together under one roof and be okay, guys, the collective problem that we're trying to solve is how does this technology actually build the future of our industry? Yeah. I used to think about contemporary art a lot too, where you have people like Jeff Koons or Damien Hirst, and they have a big factory with 50 people and all the money in the world manufacturing their art, and they make amazing stuff. And I was like, what if you could give access to that type of factory to other great artists, who might be as great but not have access, like Ai Weiwei or something. What would they make if they had 3 months, unlimited resources, and an amazing team of manufacturers? And the world should know that. Like, how come some people are limited, are able to do something in a factory like that, or able to make a movie with ILM, but then a lot of other people aren't? Like, our industry has very high walls. It's meant to keep a lot of people out.
For sure.
And it's, not everybody gets to make a Disney movie. Not everybody gets to work with ILM or something.
And the line to make a Disney movie is 10 years long.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Like, you got to wait your turn.
Exactly. Yeah. And the risks on who's going to make that, it's you start narrowing it down. You're not going to give those things to people who are risky filmmakers, but they should be making the movies. Yeah. I mean, like, I have a 5-year-old son. There's not enough animated movies. I would go to a movie every night if I could with him. I can't. I've seen now Minecraft 7 times. It's too much. But I think that, like, that part, I think, is where we are always pushing everybody we're working with to be like, give us the problems that you're trying to solve, because we want that, right? Like, and the what I always tell the team here, and we used to think about it as well too, is like, I don't want people to ever be like, no, you can't do that. And I learned this from Tony Hsieh, who started Zappos, who, told me that, he never wanted people to say no. It was only yes, if, right? So you would say, somebody would go, hey, can we make, can we turn this into a rotoscope? And then could we extract these into 3D layers? And then can we turn it all into claymation? And people would be like, no, I don't think you can do that. First, I'm always like, no, think about it. And then it's always like, yeah, I mean, sure, yes, if you had 40 other people in this other room working on it and $5 million, and it's like, okay, good. We're not going to do that, but like, at least we know what it is or what it would take. And so the team upstairs, I think that's their special powers, that they're always saying yes, and we want these complicated problems. And there's a lot now that we're working on that are very unexpected. Like, it's questions where some of the best filmmakers in the world are like, can you do this? And we are like, we never would have thought that was something that people would need. But that's very interesting. And let's think about it.
Has this, has the process with Uncanny Valley changed the structure of, like, the filmmaking process? Like, traditionally it's very, like, rigid. You got pre-pro, production, and then you're in post. With AI and everything blending, have you found, as it blending the stages, condensing some of the stages together, being more of like an iterative process?
Yes, I think 100% where we're seeing a lot of excitement from great directors who are working on big tentpole films is that they're saying, hey, I want to be closer to this creative, and I think that this tool I think it's interesting. I want to learn more about it, and they come in here. It's like a teaching hospital. We're bringing a lot of people. And there's a lot of filmmakers who get excited about the idea that they could sit at a table with their head of VFX, their DP, their, whatever it is, their cinematographer, whatever it is, a small team, and be able to just do a lot with sitting and brainstorming and getting materials out there so that they're not waiting in those times to do it. So I think that part compresses a lot. This part where you have people actually sitting in a room for a couple days and brainstorming, and the output of that, it's not for the film, but it might be for the financiers or for the studios. Like, you can get very, very far.
Right.
But that starts with, original scripts, original artists who are doing it. Like, it's not like you're coming in and then you're like, okay, let's, do Bluey, but they're cats or whatever. Like, it's really like, this is a movie. And by the way, this story happens all the time. This is a movie that was at Warner Brothers for 8 years, and then they just killed it. And like, I get reverted back to me, and like, this is my dream movie, and nobody's going to make it for $80 million. But like, could we try to make it for 12? Like, is there a world where we make it for 7? Like, that's a story time and time again that we're hearing, and people are coming in here. And that's a movie that I would argue is not going to get made without trying to figure out how technology can do that. So that's not taking a job away or taking a movie away. That is like a net new movie that's not going to get made without this thing.
Yeah, I agree with you. A lot of the costs in feature film production is the iterations, the reviews, the meetings, like the stuff that you don't think about.
Yeah.
At a very crude guesstimation, would you say that current technology with AI today is 1/10, 1/7, 1/8 of what traditional production is?
I think that it's funny. I'll tell you what other people think. Katzenberg famously said 90% reduction for animation. Then Cameron said 50% reduction. Then Ted Sarandos, who I love the most, said he hopes AI can make our movies 10% better.
Right.
Big difference, right? If you think about that. One person is saying, you don't need 90% of the people. The other person's like, we got to get rid of half the people. And then the other one's like, no, we just want our movie to be better. Like, who loves filmmakers more? Like, that's the part that I think is so interesting about it. And it's so true.
Yeah.
I think there's an easy 20 to 30% time and cost savings across the board. I think if you look at things where you have to think about where the models are very powerful, right? So animation is like every frame is running through a potentially essentially a model, right? There's rendering in every, those costs associated with every frame. Versus if you think about a movie that has maybe 20% of the movie as special effects or something, that's a 20% thing. You're not getting like a all the way down to zero. Again, nobody's trying to do that. Maybe some people are trying to do that, but I don't think anybody's going to watch those movies in the same way. Yeah, so I think there's like a big reduction right now that's like 20 to 30, maybe 40. That's undeniable right away, right now.
Nice.
And I would say that like the way that we see the world, and I think this is going to happen, is that in the very near future and to beyond, every film and TV project will have a custom model. And that's what we're building. So we build a custom model. It's fine-tuned on all the materials with the artists. If it's done with a studio, the studio owns that. That data doesn't go into our foundational model. They own that model. That model is a product that they get at the end of the film. And if you're doing that on a tentpole film and you have a model that's totally fine-tuned and can generate things on model, then that becomes a tool for marketing, for video games. Like, it's a quite powerful thing. But I think even indie films will have a custom, even our documentaries now have a custom model. And that could be the way to think about it, is like, it's like a smart series Bible meets ChatGPT, or like a smart Google Drive that you can just start to like have as your partner and you're making it.
It's like an extension of the intellectual property, that custom model.
Yeah, and it's like an agentic partner for you as you're making it. So that's what we're building. That becomes that sort of artist interface. But I do believe that whether it's us or somebody else, that's the way that it goes, is that you have a model. So when you're starting an indie film, like right now, you have an indie film, let's say we go make a movie tomorrow, we're like, we start an LLC, we open a bank account. That's how you do it traditionally. And then we're in production. Now it's like also open a model, start a model.
Nice.
That's I think where it's going to head.
And the idea of the model, like a chatbot, you could talk to, like, give us marketing materials that are in the voice. Is it for like generate pickup shots that are in the style of what the movie looks like? What is that?
I mean, I think that a lot of people are already using AI in this way as a partner for them. If they're a writer, they're using it for research. If they're an artist, they might be generating images on Midjourney that helps them on a storyboard. Like, we're seeing now how AI, in the way that you can use it right, becomes an extension of what you're doing, right? It becomes like a helper for you to make this stuff, a little producer that you're with. And so I think that just becomes kind of like the bigger version of that. But what we're talking about that's different is that the models are really fine-tuned. We call it like a LoRa model, but it's fine-tuned around exactly what you're making. So say we're going to make a space movie, is our movie, like that model is not just a random ChatGPT. It's like, it's the space movie. It's got the script, it's got the characters that we've been designing that are original. And so then it starts to know that world. It knows what cameras we're shooting on. It knows the locations. And then it can start to generate things. So it might generate, that's helpful for us, plates, background plates. It might generate elements within it. It might generate, laser guns or whatever it is that we're doing. That becomes your helper. But it's like, it's ultra specific.
Yeah.
Now, you wouldn't take that model and move it over to like, your kid's movie that you're doing, because it doesn't know that world. And I think that's like the massive difference that like the AI companies were missing. They were trying to build these models, which is why they were scraping everything, pirating everything from all the studios, is because they were like, we need all the movies so that you can say, make me an MGM film, a comedy and whatever else. And it would make you that. As we were building the model, we were like, we don't need the model to know how to make a movie.
Yeah.
We make a movie. We actually need the model to just know how the world works. And then we're going to build something on top of it that's going to be our partner to help make the movie.
Sure.
Because now nobody wants like, it's an MGM musical, it's a Universal this. It's like, that's not what we want.
We're not making stock videos. We're making a very specific film.
Yeah. And I think there's lots of room where the copyright and other things don't matter. Like, I think people who are still making TikToks or, stuff on YouTube and wherever else, which is a big market, like they might not care. They just want whatever the latest model is that can do the thing that they're trying to do the best. But our industry cares.
Yes.
And real filmmakers care, and studios care in a real way. And so I think that you have to think about, how do you build solutions for the industry that you're working in? And it's not just one size fits all.
Have you had to rethink talent deals with these projects as far as like having rights to replicate their voice with an AI model, or replicate their likeness in a model, and then like restrict it to just that project, or like restructuring deals in that way? I
think that everybody is figuring out what these deals look like going forward in terms of AI, both in terms of training and in terms of likeness, right? I think that this comes down to, in the next year, consent. And everybody starts talking more about consent. Did you have my consent to train the model on my stuff? Did you have my consent to do this voice that sounds exactly like mine or this likeness? And so I think the consent starts to become a really clear way of thinking about how we build parameters around AI, but that's going to go into all the deals too. I would love to be able to find a way to build AI solutions. Now we're doing, but somebody should do it to help speed up the process of how long deals take in Hollywood. Because I actually think that like deals take so long.
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
Because there's a lot of people and there's a lot of money and there's a lot of people sitting around who are all participating in those deals.
Yeah.
Right. Like you've got an entire industry that's built up by people who are helping put those deals together, and it's slow. And the challenge is you've got creative people who are really excited to lean in right now, who are like, hey, I got this movie, I want to make it. And I'm a big director and I've made billion-dollar movies before, but I've had none of the upside. And like my next movie I want to do here. And then you have financial people who are like from outside Hollywood for the first time, VCs and stuff, leaning in, thinking about Hollywood in this way. Who are like, yeah, I'll fund that. If you can make that movie that you was going to cost 120, you can make it for 20, I'll fund it. You know, and if when I want a part of the toys or whatever afterwards. But then you have an infrastructure inside that's still slow.
Yeah.
Like that takes a lot of the energy away. And so if we could figure out how to speed up that part, I have no idea how to do it.
Or do you think we could just get more kind of permissionless filmmaking where it's like, because if you could use the tools and you could do it for less of a cost, you can just do it yourself and you don't need so much permission for it to happen?
I do think that there's a moment where the power dynamic shifts. And if you've got a director who wants to make something, you got somebody who's got the money to go do it. It's like you don't need all those layers potentially to do it. I just got back from Senegal. There's a kid,
Nice.
He's younger than me. He's like 37, named Hussein Dembel Sow. And he's one guy in Senegal who started going viral because he was doing these things on using AI on YouTube or whatever. I think he's the best filmmaker in the world who's cracking AI.
Really?
It's incredible, extraordinary. His first one was about Senegalese soldiers in the Second World War. And somebody sent it to me like, did you see this? And, you know, it had 1 million views already. And I was like, oh my God, who's this kid? I went home because I was in the Peace Corps in Gambia. So I was so excited about Senegal. I went home, opened my LinkedIn, and he had messaged me. I was going to message him. He was like, hello, I love Asteria. Like, I just made this movie. I'd love you to see it. I was like, see it. I'm like, I love it. And so I went to see him.
Okay.
And we worked on a movie together that he's directing. And it was incredibly inspiring.
Yeah.
Like his stuff, follow him on Instagram, follow him on LinkedIn. You can see his stuff looks incredible. And he's not like, yeah, one day I'm going to come to Hollywood and make a movie for Disney. He's like, no, I'm staying in Senegal.
Yeah.
And we're going to tell these stories. And we don't need French people to come down to write the scripts. We don't need a studio to come in. I'm going to go make them. And his stuff looks better than most other people who are already making stuff.
Yeah.
Because he has, by the way, better internet in the car than we do in this building. He's got, he's got the right computer. He has access to all the tools.
Yeah.
The playing field is level. It's not even like the Canon 5D days, right?
No.
Where it was like the Canon 5D was still $2,500.
Yes,
right.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden now it's like, you got a laptop, you can run these things. Like pretty exciting.
It runs on the cloud, just $20 a month.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then it's like, it becomes about who has something interesting to say.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very exciting because that's a lot of people in the world who are going to have to start telling your stories. That's also terrifying to the old system.
Yeah. Speaking of the old system,
Yeah.
I would love to hear your predictions on the next 5 years. Like, how does our town, our industry change?
People often ask, and I'm sure they do for you guys too, like, what's going to be the Toy Story moment where a movie comes out that's AI generated that everybody goes, oh, it's undeniable, right? Like people always talk about this Toy
like
Story
a Snow White
moment.
or kind of that.
Yeah. Or, remember ILM, Steve Williams made the walk cycle of the T-Rex using a computer and it changed everything. Like, so what's that moment that breaks through? And I don't think that it's a creative thing. I think AI just sort of starts to come into everything. So it's not going to be one movie is like, oh my God, AI has arrived. But I think it's going to be a business moment. Okay. It's going to be a moment where somebody makes a movie independently like Flow.
Right.
But it's like the size of Lilo and Stitch. And all of a sudden it's like this small team made this movie for $4 million and it made $400 million at the box office. And
they own the whole thing.
Yes. Yeah. That's what's coming.
Okay.
And that's coming soon.
Yeah.
And when that comes, that's like oh shit for a lot of people. It's an oh shit, like, let's go for independent filmmakers. It's an oh shit for the studios when it happens. But I'm very excited for that. So I think that like that's the moment where people go, okay, this is a game changer of what it can do.
And Hollywood's always been sort of adapting to new technologies. How do you see the existing studio system adapting to your Senegalese talent and some of the rock stars that are out there already?
Hollywood has witnessed a lot of times of change like this before. So if you're like the big studio, you weathered through, if you're the board or you're the longtime CEO, you've weathered through what happens when animation goes to computers, or what happens when VFX, or what happens when editing gets off of Avid. You know, like you've gone through these transformations before where your actual fundamental structure of the team changes. So the studios know what's coming. They have varying, I would say, degrees of understanding the magnitude of it, but they know that it's going to change how things are made. And I think that it's going to be a challenge to keep up and go as quick as you need to be able to adapt. They're all going to have to figure it out.
Yeah.
So I think that some will be more successful than others at doing it. And I also think that there's part of back to the old Hollywood thing, I think one of the things that's interesting that I notice a lot is a kind of like resistance, this blanket resistance to AI. And I always try to understand who that person is who's resisting it. And I think that the industry overall is like not working for 99% of the people, but it is working for a top 1%.
Right.
I find a lot of resistance with that top 1%.
Right.
We're like, oh, I don't like AI because it's going to job losses of these people that work for me are so great. And I'm like, I don't know if you really like fighting for the, every man like that. I think you're just like, we've built the wrong thing for this moment that's coming. And how much resistance can you do? And it's futile in the end. So I think that like it's a moment where for those who are leaning in, there's tremendous opportunities. And I would encourage everybody to not lean in if you don't want to, but at least be curious enough to know like what could be helpful to the stuff that I do.
For sure.
And what is going to be harmful to what I do.
Like you can't look away either way.
You can't look away. Yeah. And, we're about to launch these free workshops and sessions for the guilds upstairs over some weekends in the fall where we're just going to go and show all the tools and what people do. I mean, I think it's part of it is just sort of like an education piece because there are a lot of things that are like going to be big changes that come. But to the people who are kind of like curious about it and leaning in, there's tremendous opportunities. People can start new companies, can leave wherever they are and like build something right now for the first time. Like it's very exciting. Mm-hmm. You guys know like people in VFX, like it's hard to know Nuke and Houdini. It's hard to know these tools. Oh, yeah. It's like, it's a long process to be able to get to be at a place that's like one of the best VFX shops and you have to know these tools and you're then in this thing, but like, there's a lot of people at those places who are really creative. Yeah. And if all of a sudden they could actually like do what they do so great in their little field, but do it on stop motion or whatever else or claymation, it's a big unlock.
The thing that amazes me is the VFX artists that we have today, they're already so good at, identifying quality, making the frame better, like all these intrinsic qualities they have, they can just transfer that to a new tool set.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think I think people who are creators like that, it's incredibly exciting. Like we just did some work with this incredible stop motion artist named Kike in Puerto Rico, who was working on the new Bad Bunny music video, which has this little frog, stop motion frog. Nice. And as we were meeting with Kike and starting to show the technology we're building, we were like nervous because Kike is he's a master. He's a stop motion master, and like we're coming in to show him something that like you feel like is the opposite of it. And he was like, yeah, I'll check it out, whatever. But then when he got in there, I think really quickly he saw that there was a lot of things that this thing could just help him do more of. Mm-hmm. We weren't like, don't make the models anymore. Like actually we still need him to make those models. So if you look at that video, like he's still making the heroes, like the 4 hero frogs in there are done traditionally, but then we're training a model so that it understands the look of that world and what those frogs are. So now we're able to create all these other, like he's at a nightclub. So it's like all these people in the back, all these frogs in the background. And it's just like, it creates a richer world that he would not have been able to do in the timeline and the budget to be able to do it. So I think that's where it's like, important to understand. We're not like, hey, you don't need to make those models. You're just going to like say, I want a frog that whatever. Like, no, make the models, but let's like figure out how this technology might be useful, take it or leave it, to help you in betweening how many of the poses you need to do or background characters or backgrounds. And like, that's where it is a conversation with artists. Like, that's where it is him going, hey guys, could you do this? Or have you thought about this? And we haven't, but then we do it in partnership there. So I think like people who have a story to tell or who are technical in some way and being able to kind of extend their hands into this, I think that's where there's a lot of potential.
Yeah. Have you been feeling the conversation shift too? Because I feel like even in the past year, it was, people I was talking to, they're like, I don't know about this thing. And then now it's like, so what can I do with this? Like, what tools do I need to go down the rabbit hole with?
I think it's, yes, 100% that's happened. Speaking 2 years ago at Sundance about AI, it's like people are like, boo, like every comment's like, you're the worst, whatever. Then last year, speaking about it, everybody's like, hey, so like, tell me about what could be useful in that way. We're also seeing it at the studios where like a year and a half ago, for sure, the pressure was coming from the top investors, shareholders, the board saying, what's our AI strategy? And then it kind of goes into the studio, figure it out, everybody. And then I think what's happened in the last 4 months is that filmmakers who are working in the studio are like, hey, if you want me to get this thing done in this time or this budget, like I got to have access to any tool. Like, can we explore this? I saw something on TikTok, like it could be helpful. Like that has happened more. And I think that's a result of a couple things. I mean, I think that we're all touching AI in our daily life more than we were a year ago.
For sure.
Whether it's like in your iPhone or whether it's in all the Adobe stuff, like you're just finding those places where it's kind of undeniable that it could be helpful. I remember talking to an animation company that was very resistant to AI, famously, and was like, no, we're not going to do it. And then came through because they were like, yeah, we just had a conversation yesterday where we were like, could this technology help us take like rough storyboards and make them into a more presentable to the studio's presentation? And we're like, yes, but we're also like that conversation. I remember having this hearing how that conversation happened at the studio where they're like, no AI. And then it was like quietly having a conversation like you're talking about to be like, yeah, but wouldn't it be possible to do this? And like, nobody likes that part of the process anyway. We're not taking a job. Like we're just actually like compressing this time to get the studio to be like, yes, like let's go make that movie. That's what we're seeing more of, is an openness to be like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, it could help me in that way. And that little like, yeah, it could help me in that way. If you compound that over a production, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Covered most of the stuff, but anything else you didn't cover or anything else you want to talk about?
I mean, we can talk for hours. You're so fascinating, Bryn.
Oh, this is the most exciting, I think, thing that I've ever been a part of. And I would say this, that like, if we were just sitting in a moment where the industry was working great for everybody, and then all of a sudden AI comes up in this technology and it's like, wow, now you can make animation faster or whatever, I don't think we would all be here with this like hell-bent mission. It's really a combination of like, the way we make stuff is fundamentally changing and the industry is broken.
Yes.
And if you put those together, that's where it's like, maybe, just maybe, this technology can actually solve some of the problems that we have of ownership, of IP, of speed, of access. And those things together make it like a revolution. And that's what drives all of us here. So thank you for coming in and come and spend more time here. We're excited about it.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much, Bryn. Appreciate it.
See you guys.
Thanks, Bryn.
All right. And that is it for this part 2 of our Bryn Mooser episode. Thanks again to Bryn for giving us the time. Fascinating conversation. And if you haven't listened to part 1, go check that out. I'll have the link to it up here on YouTube or in the description over at Denoise Podcast or wherever you're listening to this podcast.
We love engagement on these fascinating interviews. So if you have a comment, if you have a note on any of this, leave it on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcast.
Yeah. Thanks again, everyone. We'll catch you in the next episode.